Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into the microphone. Why? Well, just because I can. Let us continue with the episode 2 with developer commentary. I will leave it for later, although not sure what's inside, so it's always
There's an advisor around here someplace.
Indeed there is. Quite a cool script sentence. I mean, a scripted sequence, rather.
Looks like we weren't the first to find this place.
Przepraszam. I mean, excuse me.
I think we found
I
our
sort of
advisor.
reflexively spoke in Polish at first.
The board said we should kill them before they hatch. Ah, life support. What do you say, Gordon? Shall we pull the plug? Sorry about this. Maybe I can get this open. There we go. Over to you, Gordon.
Okay, I think I will listen to the commentary first.
This swirling debris effect uses much of the same underlying technology that powers our other
okay,
cinematic
doesn't
physics
make
events in episode
much
2,
sense.
but with a few important differences. Firstly, instead of using primitives, every slat, tile and beam was modeled before being sent to the rigid body solver. Next, there was a large focus on hand-sculpting world forces in order to achieve a particular behavior in the debris. Beyond the basics of gravity and collisions, we created spiral vortices, gravity wells, and some other more complex forces. With over 1,800 individually calculated dynamic moving parts, for a 30-second period, this simulation represents the largest amount of animation data run through our game engine to date.
The barn scene was critical both to this episode and to the development of advisors as characters in the series. They represent another intersection of story and gameplay concerns. This is the first time the player actually interacts with an advisor, and determining the right level of interactivity was tricky, especially given the player's reasonable expectation that he'll get to fight them directly at some point. Therefore, we wanted to show that they were powerful, but not invulnerable. This was a long-term goal. For the short term, we wanted to get the player familiar with some advisor behavior, so that when the episode finale occurred, they would already understand how advisors operate. By showing the advisor fumbling with an inert object, then a dead rebel, and finally grabbing the player, we allow the player to observe behavior and then gradually make it more and more of a direct threat. This all serves as foreshadowing for the episode's finale.
Okay, save. And
Whoa! Oh my god!
now an interesting thing is that it's probably blind, because you can see it sort of examines the barrel with its tongue first, and then it also mind probes this rebel, even though he's dead, so I'm not sure if that even works. But it's like it isn't able to differentiate between, various objects unless it touches them. It has some cool alien scripture around it.
Oh my God. Gordon. Thank God you're all right. The thing was hurt. Did you see it? I can only imagine what it would have done if... Uh-oh.
Autonomous units assumed.
Sounds like it called its
Mandatory
friend.
compliance with all tenets of adversarial assistance act.
Soldiers!
Threat level adjustment.
Ah, they will break through the door, as usual.
Shot!
Okay, I will wait with the comment until the end of the fight.
We gotta get out of here. Let's get to the car.
Although, maybe I will just stay here. Maybe they won't, because I don't want to backtrack. Most likely I will forget after the fight is over, so let us see.
We've gotten better at building combat spaces that are open and tactically versatile, while still directing the player toward an optimal play experience. This combat is on its face pretty straightforward, but we're doing some subtle things to keep the experience even and well-paced. We're using quite a few of our combat tools in this one scene. As the first soldiers enter the barn, we send them in the right direction with an initial cue about the player's location using an NPC enemy finder. The first soldiers serve primarily to draw the player outwards, where the real meat of the combat takes place. The wave of soldiers that spawns as the player rounds the corner to the exit are the most directly controlled. One pair uses assault points to dash across the open ground and flank the player on the right. Others are constrained to hint groups in and around the house across the way, spaced so that the player is hit with an even front of fire, keeping them pinned for a while and encouraging cautious sniping and probing at the windows and doors. The broken down truck gives a vital bit of mid-ground cover as players leave the barn and advance on the house. Finally, as the player leaves the barn, we spawn the reinforcing hunter. We hold this back both to keep the difficulty more even, and because the hunter combat is better when the player has pushed outwards before it begins.
Okay, so save. Let us proceed. Probably best to dispatch the hunter by throwing stuff at it. It seems to be vulnerable, funnily enough. Although, first we should maybe simply not die, because dying will not help me. Oh, fine, I'm back here. I can utilize the crossbow quite well, actually. Save. Is it just me, or... yeah, it keeps disappearing. Seems to be some kind of a bug. I mean, like, what I meant is, obviously it's a bug, but I never encountered it before, or at least I don't remember, but... Okay, now... probably best to grab some objects and throw them at it. Really seems vulnerable to such tactics. Although I guess shooting it is kind of safer because it seems to actually enter the building. Okay, that was most unfortunate. Save. Okay, it's pretty satisfying to just blast them into oblivion.
No more. We've got to get out of here.
There was a supply crate here. Okay, so let us get into the car.
Gordon, wait!
Oh, right. It's a little dickish of me. Just forget about you.
Let's get out of here.
Excuse me.
Get back.
Why? Ah, you meant like in a take cover sense, not in a turn back around sense. I get it.
Here we go. I'll stay with the car.
Our playtesters loved to see the zombie jump on the front of the car, and this naturally encouraged us to want to do more of it. We started off with a high frequency of
hit the
occurrences of this
road.
behavior, treating the zombie leap as a gameplay element that could be played out in variations. Eventually, though, we discovered that this didn't lead to any really interesting gameplay, so we ended up creating just one memorable showcase of the event instead.
Okay, now.
Having solved the problem of getting Alex into the passenger seat, we were faced with the challenge of making her a useful companion. When we first hooked up her vehicle combat, Alex constantly targeted and fired her gun at everything. This made her feel a bit like a turret. In response, we tuned her behaviour so that while the vehicle was moving, Alex fired more slowly, taking more time to aim at high speeds.
Okay, makes sense. I guess. Okay, that was unfortunate.
Oh, crap! We may have to ditch the car.
This way. Since you brought that chopper in on your tail, you want to maybe help us take it down?
Oh, with pleasure.
Damn it.
Take it down!
Yeah, that wasn't
It's not safe here. If you
the
want to start
best
chipping away at the
idea you
chopper,
ever had,
I'll grab and see if I can
was it? Okay, as usual, I will fire all the commentary up once I...
I found a first aid cache. Gordon, here comes a med kit.
I need to wait for it to drop some more of those bombs.
Turn descender!
Okay, that's not the best.
That's gonna leave a mark!
Safe anyway. As it was some progress. Okay, that definitely wasn't progress. On the other hand. Okay. Wait. Another one? Or is it still the same one? Ah, it's the same one, okay. Seems to have gotten pissed. Probably should have taken cover.
Doc, you're really putting on a clinic!
Here, catch this, Gordon.
Okay. Save.
Med kit.
Okay, that's exactly where. I needed to drop some more of those. Oh. Okay, not really doing that great. Actually hitting it. Okay. It's interesting that it actually drops the pilot's body as well once you destroy it.
Boy, are we glad to see you guys.
Oh, that was amazing. The way you threw their minds right back at them. Well, I could sure use a drink. Who's with me?
We need to get back on the road, but our engine's shot to hell. I don't suppose you got any tools for working on cars.
Tools? Got a whole shop over here. Come on, we'll get you set up.
Okay, but first let me explore.
Originally, the Episode 2 chopper battle was a classic fight that relied on the use of the RPG. In the meantime, we were experimenting with a completely new way of fighting the chopper, which we had hoped to have ready for Episode 3. The early Episode 3 experiments were so successful that we pulled them straight into Episode 2.
Okay.
I give the Combine a lot of credit, though. They're tough competitors. A real class act. Shut up.
This way, Gordon.
You weren't kidding. We'll be back on the road in no time.
Well, that could be a problem. You hear that autogun going off out there? Normally run supplies out of the White Forest base, but a few days ago the Combine cut off access.
What do you think, Gordon? Maybe while I'm getting the car fixed up, you can see about clearing up that roadblock.
All the fresh zombies coming out of City 17 have kept them pinned down. It's just a matter of time till the troops start pushing this way. If you think you're up to it, we'll let you out there.
Huh. He's always up for it. Right, Gordon?
Right.
We got a trap door up here where I can let you over to the other side. That way you'll get to see the gun before it sees you. Good luck taking out that autogun.
Okay, but I want to listen to this
Originally,
one
there
first.
was a second driving section between the chopper battle and the autogun trenches. The pacing felt wrong, so we decided to remove it and connect the end pieces so that the train yard opens directly into the garage.
Okay, save.
Playtesters often fail to recognize that they could scramble through windows while they were avoiding being shot by the autogun. We added this window exit and forced players to use it so that they would learn to rely on windows to get around.
Okay. See, that was weird. Almost as if the barrel passed through the zombie.
Some playtesters didn't realize that they would need to climb over trucks to navigate around the autogun emplacement. So we added this truck jump early in the level as a form of introductory training.
Okay. Save.
Hazardous radiation levels vital signs.
In order to train players that crouching through the trenches is critical for survival, we did several things. First, we start the player in the safe position by forcing them to crouch under the fence to enter the area. Once inside, they learn by watching the zombies. Upright zombies are gunned down, but their torsos are free to roam in the shadow of the junk. Some playtesters believe that while the guns were busy shooting zombies, they would be able to move freely. To counteract this impression, we increased the number of guns from 1 to 3, making it clear that there was always going to be a gun free to shoot the player.
Okay. That was...
Blood loss detected.
Okay, seem to be constantly missing. Just a little... Yeah, and of course I succeeded the moment it killed me. Okay, that's... why did it... Okay, I was overshooting it basically. Throwing the grenade too far away. I wasn't expecting that. And here comes a... Oh, for... It's actually probably not the best idea to save in a crouched position, because then you have to remember to keep crouching. They are only just now entering the room. You can even see them. Okay, is there more of them? Yes, there is.
Loss detected.
Okay. I will listen to it because I'm not
Zombies serve the double purpose of horror and humor. Here, since we knew where the player's view would be, we added a comical scene of a fast zombie torso running away from a soldier.
Okay, maybe another way in through the roof. Again, have some fun with those grenades because although it may not exactly be working, so
Detected.
probably I need to. Yeah, that makes sense because they gave me an unlimited grenade supply here, and I suppose this will talk about the puzzle.
The original design for this sequence involved shutting down the cannon by flipping a switch. That was neither obvious nor rewarding. We decided to let the player blow it up instead, which gave us another opportunity to use our cinematic physics.
Okay. I wonder if it's the Combine or the Rebels actually shooting the zombies down. I guess it's the Rebels
Hey,
because...
Gordon! The car's ready! Come on back and we'll get going!
Once we added the onboard radar to the Strider battle at the end of the episode, we needed to train the player in its use well before they reached that area. This garage was already in the game as a place where Alex needed to stay while the player went alone through the autocannon area. It was a perfect fit to have the mechanic rebels add their radar to the car while Gordon was busy somewhere else.
Okay. But I think it's actually not a bad place to end the episode, so save and see you in the next one. Bye.